Good morning, and welcome to the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Indiana, Pennsylvania. I'm Tina Perdue, and I'm chair of the Committee on Ministries and secretary of the board, and this morning's impromptu worship associate. So, on behalf of the, that's what I want to say about me. I think that was enough. On behalf of the entire congregation, I welcome you here this morning, whether in person, on Zoom, or via YouTube. If you are here for the first time, welcome. Please take a moment to fill out a blue visitor's card. You can find one in your hymnal or in the entryway. This will help us to make sure you receive information about our church's programs and services. If you're joining us online, email office@firstuu-indianapa.org to become connected to our newsletter. On Zoom, please note the chat button below the video screen and use that feature for our greetings, our chalice lighting, and for joys and concerns during the service. The First Unitarian Universalist Church of Indiana, PA is a member congregation of the Unitarian Universalist Association. We are a self-governing congregation united in a web of mutuality that creates our denomination. We have no creed or doctrine, teaching that all individuals have the right and the responsibility to discern and follow their own spiritual paths. We come together to support and assist each other on our journeys and to build our beloved community together. I invite you to stay after the service to greet one another and rejoice in our mutual presence. We will open up the microphones on Zoom for coffee hour, and folks here in person are welcome to greet those joining us electronically at that time as well. And Sandy Whitson's cookies are back there, so you really want to stay. Okay. We have a special announcement, Ruth. So I'll turn this over to you for a second.
Good morning. I just wanted to tell you what you missed yesterday. You may know it was our first grounds cleanup of the season. So we worked a lot on the front area. You may have noticed, if you didn't, when you go out, look at it. We did a lot of weed pulling. There were 6 of us. Tina, Nana, Meg Reardon, and her 2 girls, Veda and Hazel, and me. And, we kind of had fun. We didn't work too hard. We worked a couple of hours. And then we had hot dogs, Nana's macaroni and cheese, Sandy Whitson's baked beans, my vegetables, and we sat around. We had cookies, too. We didn't eat them all yesterday. We tried, but we were too full. So we still have cookies. We do have leftover macaroni and cheese and baked beans, but we're not eating it this week, because Team 3 brought 2 breakfast casseroles. Dawn and Faye brought 3 pies. But I am cooking some hot dogs, and we have the vegetables. So, y'all, it's like lunch. So we're going to do this again soon, this cleanup. So I hope y'all come. And thank you to everybody who did clean up.
Thanks, Ruth. And now I invite you to take a gentle breath and settle yourself into a spirit of worship.
The call to worship is from a book called Stars in the Earth by, blanking on his name, Storm Ravenwolf. But the foreword is written by his husband, Chaz Bowden, and I've titled it, Thank the Gods We Have Poets. In the Western magical tradition, many have sought spiritual inspiration from above, associating starlight with enlightenment. Yet the stars can seem so distant, the divine so far from where we stand. Thank the gods we have poets, those who can lasso the stars and learn their secrets, who can reverse the act of creation by turning light again into words. This is true magic. It is the magic of transformation, such as is wrought by love, both the mortal and the divine. There is alchemy at play, transmuting esoteric romance into passion that tangibly quickens the heart and exposing the sacredness inherent in the profane. The message, in its myriad expressions, never fails to remind us that magic resides within us, just as the stars reside also inside the earth.
Now let us light our chalice flame. On Zoom, you may type, "The flame is lit," and put where you're from. And I think is it lit? All right, good deal. All right, and there's let's say the chalice lighting words. To face the world's shadows, a chalice of light. To face the world's coldness, a chalice of warmth. To face the world's terrors, a chalice of courage. To face the world's turmoil, a chalice of peace. May its glow fill our spirits, our hearts, and our lives.
And now please rise in body or spirit and join me in singing hymn number 8, Mother Spirit, Father Spirit.
Mother Spirit, Father Spirit, where are you? In the sky song, in the forest sounds your cry. What to give you, what to call you, what am I? Many drops are in the ocean deep and wide. Sunlight bounces off the ripples to the sky. What to give you, what to call you, am I? I am empty, time flies from me, what is time? Dreams eternal, fears infernal haunt my heart. What to give you, what to call you, oh my God. Mother Spirit, Father Spirit, take our hearts. Take our breath and let our voices sing our parts. Take our hand and let us work to shape our art.
And the reading is called Sanctus One.
Mother Spirit.
It's called Sanctus One by Carol Simmering. Although I can no longer call what is holy God, that is to say, still, when my breath is taken away, I see those solid sheets of sun coming out of the clouds, upon which in my younger days I imagined whole fleets of angels taking their leave of heaven to touch earth and go back again, or one stalk of grass in fall bent perfectly, fragile and determined at the same time, or the night sky away from the city, or the ocean, period. I say, this is holy. This is beyond what you could expect of things. But now I can no longer name it one name or tie it neatly together in the strings of verse and chapter. It is the unnamed, the unbound beauty of nature, the earth and skies humming, resonating in the spaces of atoms which make me. I am driven at any rate to prayer in response, the very simplest of prayers. Amen. Amen. I now invite you to pass the sign of peace with one another, and especially to anyone you haven't met before or haven't seen recently. Thoreau, Emerson, Barry, McCade, Cummings. The Unitarian Universalist faith is filled with poetry. When I first came to the Unitarian Universalist Church, it was a poetry reading service that led me here. And shortly after joining the church in October of 2000, I became a member of the Worship Services Committee. Part of my reason for joining that committee was to make sure that nature-based spirituality had a voice here. One of the things I began was this service that celebrates the traditions of the Welsh Eisteddfod. We gather on the first Sunday in August to celebrate the power of poetry. In a faith without one unifying scripture, the poetic sensibility helps us hear the voice of spirit wherever it speaks. Even our 7 principles can be viewed as a poem that expresses our faith. And now, let us read our 7 principles together. They may be found in your order of service, on screen, or in the front of your gray hymnal. We covenant to affirm and promote the inherent worth and dignity of every person, justice, equity, and compassion in human relations, acceptance of one another, and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregations, a free and responsible search for truth and meaning, the right of conscience, and the use of the democratic process within our congregations and in society at large, the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all, and respect for the interdependent web of all existence, of which we are a part. And the centering words are from one of my favorite movies, The Dead Poets Society. These are words that are spoken by Robin Williams' character in the film, John Keating, and he's teaching his students about poetry. We don't read and write poetry because it's cute. We read and write poetry because we are members of the human race. And the human race is filled with passion. And medicine, law, business, engineering, these are noble pursuits and necessary to sustain life. But poetry, beauty, romance, love, these are what we stay alive for. To quote from Whitman, "O me, O life, of the questions of these recurring, of endless trains of the faithless, of cities filled with the foolish, what good amid these, O me, O life?" Answer, that you are here, that life exists and identity, that the powerful play goes on, and you may contribute a verse. That the powerful play goes on, and you may contribute a verse. What will your verse be? During the centering music, if you have joys or sorrows you would like spoken aloud, please write them in the chat, online, or on a note card, and place it in the basket to be woven into our shared pastoral prayer.
we offer a time of silence during which you are invited to come forward to light a candle of intention to represent a joy or sorrow, concern or celebration in your life. If you have not already done so, you may hand your written joy or sorrow to the worship leader as you light your candle.
Let us join our hearts and prayers together now in the spirit of prayer. Spirit of life and love, we gather together to share in community these milestones of our living. A joy to share cautiously. Tammy Frayne Blank has been hospitalized in Pittsburgh with COVID complication for 2 months, but she is now back in Indiana, PA in a rehab unit at IRMC. Her family includes Peter and Yolanda Broad, Eric Blank, and 3 daughters. And someone writes, my joy today is that the initial night of the play at the Indiana Playhouse was completely sold out. The cast of the Kipling Jungle Book would like to ask you to come today at 2:30 and next week at Friday and Saturday at 7:30 and Sunday at 6:30. And I'd like to express my thanks to people who have reached out over Facebook and to my family and friends all over the place who have stood up and gave me support during the recent health issues that I've been facing. And for the blessings of our lives, may we be truly grateful. For the beauty of the earth, the changing seasons, and the flowing gift of life, may we give thanks. In times of fragile hearts and tender sorrows, may we find comfort and strength. May our hearts be healed. May we be filled with peace. Amen, and blessed be.
At the First UU Church of Indiana, we share the plate by giving a portion of every week's donations to an organization outside the church. This is part of our congregation's mission to promote compassionate and responsible thought and action in the world by giving back to the community around us every week. So when you give this morning, know that you are making an impact, not only for this congregation, but also in the wider community through our shared giving. Our congregational giving this month is Share the Plate with UU Justice PA. This is an organization of Unitarian Universalists working together in common cause to embrace, articulate, and advocate for all goals of social and environmental justice. UU Justice is our voice in Harrisburg, and our own Reverend Joan Sabatino, Emerita, is its director. So, as a congregation, we are glad to give both within and beyond our walls. Please give generously as you are able, as we share in singing our offertory hymn, From You I Receive, number 402.
In the Celtic spiritual tradition, the 1st of August is the festival of Lughnasadh, the first harvest, when the first grains are baked into bread and blessed to assure a bountiful harvest. In Wales, the first Sunday after Lughnasadh is celebrated by the National Eisteddfod. This is a gathering of poets to share their art. In the Celtic tradition, the poet is more than just entertainment. In the lore of Celtic countries, poets are known by several names: bairds or bards, Awanethion, which means inspired ones, and Fili. These poets held magical powers. The words of the poets could bring down tyrants and defeat armies. They could heal wounds and bring back the dead. In this spirit, we gather here today to share the words of the poets, the Awanethion. We share their inspiration and use it to strengthen each other. I invite you now to share a poem, either your own or one of a favorite poet. And I'll begin with one. Pick one of the random bookmarks that I have here. Oh, it's one of my favorites. It's my favorite of Rumi's poems. It's called That Journeys Are Good. If a fir tree had a foot or two like a turtle or a wing, do you think it would just wait for the saw to enter? You know the sun journeys all night under the earth. If it didn't, how could it throw up its flood of light in the east? And salt water climbs with such marvelous swiftness to the sky. If it didn't, how could the cabbages be fed with the rain? Have you thought of Joseph lately? Didn't he leave his father in tears going? Didn't he then learn how to understand dreams and give away grain? And you, if you can't leave your country, you could go into yourself and become a ruby mine, open to the gifts of the sun. You could travel from your manhood into your inner man, or from your womanhood into your inner woman. By a journey of that sort, earth became a place where you find gold. So leave your complaints and self-pity and internalize death energy. Don't you realize how many fruits have escaped out of sourness into sweetness? A good source of sweetness is a teacher, Mine is named Shams. You know every fruit grows more handsome in the light of the sun. And so, if anybody has a poem to share, just raise your hand and I'll bring the mic to you. And we'll see.
Looking up at the stars, I know quite well that for all they care, I can go to hell. But on earth, indifference is the least we have to dread from man or beast. How should we like it if, how should we like it were stars to burn with a passion for us we could not return? If equal affection cannot be, let the more loving one be me. Admire as I think I am of stars that do not give a damn. I cannot, now I see them, say I missed one terribly all day. Were all stars to disappear or die, I should learn to look at an empty sky and feel its total dark sublime, though this might take me a little time.
Thank you. Anyone else?
This is a poem by Algernon Charles Swinburne. I don't know anything about the author, but I read it years ago. It appealed to me then, and the older I get, the more it resonates with me. From too much love of living, from hope and fear set free, we thank, in brief thanksgiving, whatever gods there be, that no one lives forever, that the dead will rise up never, that even the weariest river winds somewhere safe to sea.
Anyone else? I see a lot of people on their phones. Are you looking for poems?
Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if there are a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture. Still, treat each guest honorably. It may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice. Meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond.
By heart. So it's in winter I go to bed by night and dress by the yellow candlelight. In summer just the other way, I have to go to bed by day. I have to go to bed and see the robin still hopping on the tree, or hear the grown people's feet walking past me in the street. And does it not seem hard to you, when all the sky is clear and blue, that I should like so much to play, but I have to go to bed by day? And I can't believe I still remember that. There are things that I remember yesterday, but I remember something that when I was 7.
That's the great thing about poetry. Anyone else?
I don't really get moved by poetry, but this poem was given to me by my professor whenever I graduated undergrad, and it has really set the stage for my life, or how I try to live it. So it's called Ithaca by Cavafy, and it says, "As you set out for Ithaca, hope your road is a long one, full of adventure, full of discovery. Lastrygonian, Cyclops, angry Poseidon, don't be afraid of them. You'll never find things like that on your way, as long as you keep your thoughts raised high, as long as a rare excitement stirs your spirit and your body. Lastrygonians, Cyclops, wild Poseidon, you won't encounter them unless you bring them along inside your soul, unless your soul sets them up in front of you. Hope your road is a long one. May there be many summer mornings when, with such pleasure, what joy, you enter harbors you're seeing for the first time. You may stop at Phoenician trading posts to buy fine things, mother of pearl and coral, amber and ebony, sensual perfumes of every kind, as many sensual perfumes as you can. And may you visit many Egyptian cities to learn and learn from those who know. Keep Ithaca always in your mind. Arriving there is what you're destined for. But don't hurry the journey at all. Better if it lasts for years, so you're old by the time you reach the island, wealthy with all you've gained along the way, not expecting Ithaca to make you rich or happy. Ithaca has given you the marvelous journey. Without her, you would have never set out. She has nothing left to give you now. And if you find her poor, Ithaca won't have fooled you. Wise as you have become, so full of experience, so full of knowledge, you'll understand by then what these Ithacas mean."
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hopefully the phone won't give out, because I forgot to bring it on paper with me. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too. If you can wait and not be tired by waiting or being lied about, don't deal in lies. Or being hated, don't give way to hating. And you don't look too good nor talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two imposters just the same, if you can bear to hear the truth you're spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you give your life, it's broken, and stop and hold up with warmth, not tools. If you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it all on one turn pitch and lose, it's not going to work. I'm sorry. I can't get the rest of it. It's If by Rudyard Kipling. It used to be one of my most favorite poems next to the one by the Tall Sails.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone online? What's that? Well, I only brought one of mine, as far as one that's written by me. It's a bit edgy, so I wasn't too sure. There are some sexual elements to it, I'll say that. But it's, they're in metaphor. So I give you a warning so that if you don't want to stay in for that. But it's called Defining Moments. And it was inspired by an incident in my life when I was 5 years old, and I knew my father was mad at me for accidentally breaking a light switch, and so I ran away and hid in the woods. And I realized that that experience was mirrored in other experiences in my life. So it's called Defining Moments. The defining moment of my childhood, I ran away from an angry father to live 1 hour in the wild wood. The defining moment of my mystic life, I ran away from an angry father to live 1 hour in the wild wood. The defining moment of my sexuality, I ran away from an angry father to live 1 hour in the wild wood. The defining moment of my life, I ran away from an angry father to live 1 hour in the wild wood. The defining moment of my faith, I ran away from an angry father to live 1 hour in the wild wood. That defining moment stretched out from hour to hour to celebrate the eternal Sabbath, to rest between the Jachin and Boaz of his legs and receive communion. Wine and bread in one, liquid on my tongue drying to wafer on my skin. Beatific vision after beatific vision, far from angry fathers, in the wild wood, with the holy goat, a kiss to seal the pact, and Mother Mary smiling on. Anyone else? Did we get the person on YouTube? Don't know. Let's see if this works. Okay, so then they can go ahead. Oh, so, no, okay, forget it. All right. No. We're good. Okay. If there's no one else, I'll share one more, probably from Rumi, but let me see where it opens up. Most of my bookmarks are on Rumi. Yes, it's called The Jar with the Dry Rim. The mind is an ocean, and so many worlds are rolling there, mysterious, dimly seen, and our body is a cup floating on the ocean. Soon it will fill and sink, not even one bubble to show where it went down. The Spirit is so near that you can't see it, but reach for it. Don't be a jar full of water whose rim is always dry. Don't be the rider who gallops all night and never sees the horse that is beneath him. I love Rumi.
Thank you, everybody. So, the closing words are Pan's final words from William Shakespeare. If we shadows have offended, think but this, and all is mended, that you have but slumbered here, while these visions did appear, and this weak and idle theme no more yielding than a dream. Gentles, do not reprehend, if you pardon, we will mend, and as I am an honest Puck, if we have unearned luck now to scape the serpent's tongue, we will make amends ere long, else the Puck a liar call. So good night unto you all. Give me your hands if we be friends, and Robin shall restore amends. And now if you will join me in singing our closing hymn, number 123, Spirit of Life. sing it a cappella, we know it.
We know it.
Yeah.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the of life. Come to me, come to me.
I invite you to join me in saying together our words to extinguish our chalice. We extinguish our chalice flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
As you go your way, take with you the wisdom and beauty of the poets, bards, Awanithian and Phili. Remember and honor their words, for this is what we stay alive for. Amen. Blessed be. Namaste.